Hi, welcome to the Zenbeats how-to series. Today we're going to show you how to use the robust automation features in Zenbeats. Let's get started. First, let's ask, what is automation? Automation is data that controls various parameters of the Zenbeats mixer, instrument, effects, and external plugins during playback. Think of it as like having extra hands to make adjustments while your song is playing. Essentially, with automation, you have unlimited hands to adjust nearly anything during playback. Now, in Zenbeats, there are two types of automation: pattern automation and timeline automation. Let's cover pattern automation first. Pattern automation can be used in both loop builder and timeline modes, as it stores all the parameters directly inside the pattern. This means that any parameter you have, such as I have some automation in this ZC1 pattern here, it will move with the pattern, no matter if you're on loop builder mode or timeline mode. Let's dive into this pattern and take a look at the automation. I'm going to double tap here to get into the editor. And to access the automation curve we see here, just go to the automation button here, click it. This is going to display the automation menu. It'll give you links to edit any curves that are in the pattern, links to remove any curves, and then of course you can add new automation. As you can see, the list gets pretty big, and the more plugins you add, the bigger the list gets. As I mentioned before, you can automate almost anything. Let's just go to Edit Automation first and take a look at the volume automation. Now, as you can see, as the line plays over the curve, the volume of the mixer is going up and then back down a little bit. Up at the top, I have the automation menu, a display of the curve that I'm editing, as well as some edit tools. Let's take a look at these. The arrow tool is the basic default tool. It allows you to click on any of the points you see here and edit it. When you select a point, you'll also get a helpful tooltip that shows you the value that the point is set at. Since I'm editing volume, the value of this point is -28.83 decibels. It also shows you the time that the point occurs in minutes and seconds and bars and beats. You'll notice they give you real-time updates as you're moving it for precise control. Next up is the paint tool. With the paint tool, I can tap and just begin dragging up and back down, and it's going to create several editing points and make the piano get actually a little bit louder. Next, the line tool. The line tool will help you create a perfectly straight line from any point in the automation editor. Let's add some pan automation. To do that, I'm going to once again hit the automation menu here, and instead of go to Edit Automation, I'm going to go to Add New and select Pan. What I want to do is pan this piano going from left to right as it gets louder and softer. To do that, let's go down to the bottom left corner of the MIDI editor. I'm going to tap and hold to create my first point, and then I'm going to drag to create my second point and let go. Now, as you can see on the mixer, the piano is panning perfectly from left to right, with its loudest point being directly panned center. Now, in between 2 points, you'll see these solid points here. These allow you to click and drag and create a smoother curve. This allows you to speed up the ramp or slow it down depending on where you drag it. And if you change your mind, you can also delete any point by selecting it and clicking the trash can icon. And we're back to a straight line. Okay, let's get out of the automation editor inside this pattern. To do that, click the X button here. And then let's click the X button again to get out of the MIDI editor. Next up, we're going to look at timeline automation. Now, timeline automation is only accessible in timeline mode, as it's based on each track's timeline. Let's add some filter automation to this drum beat track up here. To access the timeline editing tools, expand the track panel control by clicking the meters here. And if all you see is solo and mute like I do, you also want to expand the height. Let's click the plus button here until we can see the automation icon. There it is. Another tip, you can keep expanding both vertically and horizontally, and it will give you a larger area to edit your timeline automation. To add timeline automation, hit the automation button, go to Add New Automation option, and let's select High Cut. Doing this will expose the automation editor directly on top of the patterns in the timeline view. In the upper right, you'll notice the same automation label, menu, as well as the same editing tools. I'm going to leave it on Paint Tool, and let's draw a filter up and then back down. And now you can see the high cut on the mixer is automating up and then going back down. To exit the timeline automation, just click the X button here, like so. Now, while you can edit automation and be as precise as you want, in some cases you may want to record it, either using the mouse or maybe a MIDI controller. Let's go down to this audio track, and let's record some pan automation here. Now with recording pan automation, it involves hitting the record button on the transport. And since we're on an audio track, that will also engage audio recording from any audio inputs. So what we want to do is change the record mode to record automation mode. To do so, go to the record button and either tap and hold or right click to expose the record mode options. Select record automation mode and you're ready to go. Now, I want this to pan from right to left. So I'm going to select the track and I'm going to start it all the way to the right before I press record. From there, press record and get ready to make your move. And there you have it. We've just recorded automation directly from the timeline using the record automation mode. Now, as I mentioned before, with pattern automation, your automation is locked inside your pattern. You'll notice, once again, as I move the ZC1 pattern, the automation curves follow the pattern. However, if I move any of these patterns, the automation stays on the timeline. If there's a case where you want to change that, it's easily done from the automation menu right here. Let's say I want to print this filter automation directly on this pattern because I want to use it somewhere else in the song. Just click the pattern menu button, go to Print Track Automation to Pattern, and select the parameter. This will instantly create a copy of the automation directly inside the pattern, allowing me to do things like maybe duplicate the pattern on the timeline and have the automation follow with it. If you change your mind at any time, you of course can reverse it. Maybe I want the pattern here, but I want this automation to go back on the timeline. You'll notice I now have Print Pattern Automation to Track, and I can do the same thing there as well, and boom, there it is. Well, that's a wrap for this video. I hope it gives you some creative mixing ideas in Zenbeats. Remember, you can automate almost everything, so have fun. Give us a like and subscribe if you want to be notified as we release more how-to videos. Thanks again for watching. Take care.